fellow book-loving friends. I am so happy that you are here to watch my newest video. If you are new here, welcome to my cozy little corner of the internet where we talk a lot about book writing since I'm working on my first ever novel project, but we also talk a bit about all things cozy and bookish. So today's video is going to be a little different from my past videos just because everything I've uploaded so far has been covering my actual book writing project, which is interesting, but I am sure hearing about it every single video could get a little tiring. Today is going to be a reading vlog of sorts. I am going to be shopping my own bookshelves. I am very guilty, and let me know in the comments if you are as well, of buying a lot of books and then I do read a good amount of them, but inevitably I have multiple books that just sit on my shelf and collect dust, and I don't pick them up for some very weird reason. So this vlog is probably going to follow my week. I am going to try very hard to get through the majority of 3 different books that have been sitting on my shelf for ages and are on my TBR, but I've made no progress with. So I will be filming lots of reading clips. I will probably insert some fun weekly cozy activities, whether that be baking or driving around my little town to look at some nature. But settle in with whatever beverage of choice you would like. Right now, I just made some dark chocolate peppermint coffee, and it is so good. It's from Christmas, so there's a theme in this video. I'm trying to get through things that have been sitting on my shelf, whether it be my bookshelf or my pantry shelf. But get cozy, and I hope you enjoy this weekly reading vlog. With my haul, I guess, of books to read for this week. I shopped my own bookshelves, and I am really excited with the ones that I picked out. I don't know if you guys can relate, but I am very guilty of buying books and then they just sit on my shelf. I do read the majority of the books that I own, but some of them just happen to sit and collect dust. And so instead of going out and buying more books this week, I wanted to select 3 books from my collection that I have not read yet, that have been on my TBR for ages and ages, and I just haven't gotten around to them. So I am going to show you the 3 selections that I made for this video, and then I'm going to get to reading. So my first one you have already seen, most likely, if you've watched my other videos. It is called Crazy Rich Asians. It was my first selection earlier this month as just a book to read that I had gotten from a sale in my public library. So this isn't necessarily one that's been sitting for a long time, but since I've already started it, I really want to finish it because every year I try to make a reading goal, so a number of books that I want to read by the end of the year. And this year I set my goal at 50 books, and I know that I am very far behind. It is hard, even though I love reading. It is my favorite thing to do. It is hard to fit reading time in to busy work weeks. And so I am taking the opportunity to film this video and kind of get myself back into the reading mindset where I'm prioritizing it every single day. And so that's why I'm trying to read as much as I can of 3 books that have been sitting on my shelves or that I've already started. And so I have been pretty slow with getting into Crazy Rich Asians. I'm only on page, 35. And it's not because it isn't a great book. I am already super interested in the topic because it actually is offering a ton of insightful commentary on the world of the ultra rich within Asia. And so it is super fascinating. It's just that, like I said, I get really busy with work, and then reading falls to the bottom of my priority list, sadly. So I'm going to try to finish this, and I'm very excited. I will keep you updated on what I think about it. My second book selection was actually a nonfiction book, which is interesting. I try to read a decent amount of nonfiction, but it just isn't like my top genre. I think I've mentioned before that fantasy, so fiction, fantasy within that is my most favorite genre ever. It's my comfort genre. It's what I grew up with. And so nonfiction is not something that I tend to gravitate towards on a regular basis. But I am super interested in nature and being outside and the environment. And so the book that I selected was The Hidden Life of Trees. I got this, I want to say like at least a year ago. And it is supposed to be a super awesome book about how trees and forests are actually social and can communicate with each other, which blows my mind. So that is my second pick. I am hoping to get a little bit more nonfiction incorporated into my reading schedule for the week. And so I'm looking forward to learning more about trees and how they actually communicate with each other. So The Hidden Life of Trees is book number 2. And then my last selection for the week is Anne of Green Gables, which is such a classic that I have never read, which is crazy to me because I've heard about it for so long. Virtually my entire life growing up, I have like heard about this book and people have told me that I would love this book. And I just had never gotten around to reading it. I really do like the edition that I have. It's one of the Barnes & Noble classic editions. They come out with some really beautifully bound copies. It even has gilded pages, which is really cool. And I thought it was about time that I get around to reading this book. The snow is finally starting to melt here. Fingers crossed that spring is on the way. And for some reason, this book in particular seemed like a perfect transition winter into spring read. And so I'm actually very excited to finally get into this and learn more about Anne and why everyone loves this book so much. So those are my 3 picks. I am going to try to read a little bit of each of them every single day just to make sure that I'm really making progress. And I will check in with you throughout the week to let you know how I'm liking them, how far I am into all of them, and hopefully by the end of the week I will have either finished all of them or am very close to finishing all of them. So with that, I have a lot of reading ahead of me, so let's get to it. everybody. I just got home from work and I wanted to give you a little bit of an update on where I ended up with my reading progress yesterday, which would have been Sunday. And so I included some clips yesterday of me reading from Crazy Rich Asians, and I had told you that I think I was on like page 35. I am now on page 105. So I've made some decent progress, but that was the only book that I read yesterday. So tonight, after dinner, I'm going to be going to the library to do some writing on my novel, but then I hope to start Anne of Green Gables and probably read a little bit more of Crazy Rich Asians. So that is where I'm at with my reading update. Hopefully I make some good progress tonight. So I'm gonna finish cooking dinner, eat that, and then hopefully get a bit of reading in this evening. Hey everybody, I just got off of work. It is Wednesday. I'm I'm like forgetting the days of the week. It is Wednesday, and I wanted to give you a little reading update because I did read during my lunch today. So I've made a little bit more progress with Anne of Green Gables. So I am on page 100 and I'm on page 134. And oh my goodness, I love it so much. I love it so, so much. The style of writing is maybe the most whimsical writing I've ever read in my life. It is the perfect book for spring finally starting to peek its head around the corner. It is so heartwarming and comforting. It may become one of my all-time favorite books. Anne is just so, her way that she views the world is so inspiring. I wish that I could view the world the same exact way she does. She looks at even the simplest things with the greatest sense of awe and wonder, and I would like to channel a little bit of that into my own life. So this has been such a good read. I want to have an Anne of Green Gables spring this year where I'm just appreciating nature and viewing things in a positive light and being proud of myself and confident. I love it. I've said that so many times, but it's very true. So Crazy Rich Asians, I'm still around page 150 now, I'm pretty sure. So I'll be working on reading all of those. I'm making decent progress. I probably should be a little bit further in all of them, but it can be hard with work and writing my book and everything. So that was my check-in with you. I'm coming in with my last update of the week, and I just wanted to let you know how far I've gotten in all of the books that I was going to read this week and what I'm thinking of them so far. So I finished Anne of Green Gables, and it was so, so good. I would give that 5 out of 5 stars easily. It was just, it pulled me in so much. The style of writing was so, I want to use the word almost enthralling. It was, I think it might now be my favorite book of all time, which is a pretty big statement because I've read a lot of books. But Anne is just such a charismatic character, and the story was just so heartwarming to see her grow into a young woman and maintain that appreciation and love for nature and just a sense of wonder when she was out in the world. So, massive thumbs up for that one. Next, I have Crazy Rich Asians here. I have not completely finished this book. I am on page 344, so I have a little bit left to go. It is also really, really good. I'm still loving the commentary that it offers about just the ultra rich and having a main character who did not have that upbringing kind of surprisingly get put into that world and just see how vastly foreign it is. So it is amazing. Sadly, my last book that I was working on, Hidden Life of Trees, my nonfiction pick, it is a wonderful, wonderful book so far. I am only about 25 pages into it, just because it is it's a slow read for me, if that makes sense. Not because the content isn't interesting, but because it is a lot to wrap my brain around. There's a bit of scientific theory in it that I just am not as familiar with, and so it's taking a little bit longer to get through it. And also, this week turned out to be a little bit more stressful and busy than I was anticipating. And so finding time to read was a little challenging with work. And then I was having some computer issues. And so I did not spend as much time reading as I would have liked. But sometimes that's how life is. I'm really happy that I shopped my own bookshelf and I set a goal for myself to try to read as much of these books as possible, because it definitely helped with my yearly reading goal. I now am almost 2 books more than what I started at the beginning of the week towards my goal. I'll have to tally those and let you know where I'm at, but I'm still very proud of myself because these books are ones that I wouldn't have probably read for a while if I hadn't shopped my own shelf. And I read my new favorite book this week, which is awesome. So I'm just here to tell you that it is great to set reading goals for yourself, but be gentle with yourself if you don't get everything finished that you would have wanted to, because sometimes life happens and things are unexpected, but reading is still a wonderful way to escape that. And I definitely used reading this week to get away from a little bit of the stress that I was feeling. So with that, I'm going to close this vlog. It is one of my longer ones, so hopefully you enjoyed it. I will be excited to see you for my next video. I sent out a poll this past week, so I think whichever one wins will be the topic of my next video that I upload. I'm so glad that you all have been helping my channel grow. We are now over 200 subscribers, which blows my mind. I'm so happy to have this little community with you all here on the internet. So I will see you in my next video.